Are you ready to dive deep into the world of TikTok ads and unlock its full advertising potential? Today, we are not just going to be scratching the surface. We're going to be going all in with a complete no stone unturned tutorial on TikTok ads. Whether you're a brand looking to explode and scale your current TikTok ad campaigns, or brand new to TikTok ads, or just curious about how TikTok ads runs and works, then you are in the right place. We're going to be diving into very specific actionable strategies and frameworks that have been proven to get results on TikTok ads. I purposely designed this course in chronological order so that you can start from the very beginning and walk all the way through how the entire process of TikTok ads works without having to jump through other videos. It's all here in one place. In fact, there is so much value in this course that I thought about even making it a paid course and charging people hundreds of dollars to access it, but ultimately decided to keep it for free here on YouTube. My only ask is that if by the end of this video, if you find it valuable, that you consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Now, we are going to be covering a lot in this course, so here is a list of all the topics that we'll be covering, along with timestamps for where they are so you can skip around as you please. However, as I did mention, I did purposely create this course in chronological order so that you can watch it all the way through step by step, and with each step building upon each other. Of course, feel free to pause the video and come back to it as often as you need to as you are building out your TikTok campaigns. So now let's actually dive into the first section of this course. I want to briefly talk about why you should consider running ads on TikTok in case you aren't convinced already. Now, chances are if you're watching this video, you probably are somewhat convinced, but let me maybe tell you a couple more reasons why. Now, you can see here, the first big reason is that the rising generation is on TikTok. And not surprisingly, TikTok is now Gen Z's favorite social media app. It actually just passed YouTube in 2023. You can see here, it is now the #1. It used to be #2, second to YouTube, but it is now Gen Z's top social media platform, which means the rising generation is on there. And if you can't figure out how to target them, then the future of your business may be in trouble. Now, the next important thing to note is that TikTok is going to hit 2 billion users this year. This is crazy, the growth that they're experiencing. TikTok reached 1.9 billion in 2023, but it's expected that they will hit 2 billion by the end of 2024. I wouldn't be surprised if they hit even more by the end of 2024. So there are a lot of people on TikTok. There are like 8 billion people in the world, and 2 billion of them are on TikTok. Now, this next thing right here is that TikTok is the fastest growing for product discovery. Now, this data is published by TikTok themselves, so take that for what it's worth. But based on my experience and what I see in the trends and products that just absolutely pop off overnight because of TikTok, I don't find this too hard to believe. Currently, it is a great way to have your product actually discovered and in the awareness bucket to get consumers aware of your product. Now, this next one right here is actually a really important point. TikTok is still very affordable compared to other social media platforms. Now, I do want to throw a disclaimer out here that in my experience, this can vary depending on your product or industry, but generally speaking, TikTok is cheaper than the other social media platforms. But in my experience, it has been a lot more effective as well. You can see here, according to this article, TikTok's lower CPMs are one of the reasons why it's taking more market share from the duopoly. According to VaynerMedia, the cost per 1,000 impressions are almost half of Instagram Reels, third of Twitter, and 62% less than Snapchat. Like I said, in my own personal experience, I've seen mixed results of this, but generally speaking, it's cheaper. And another thing to consider is TikTok's algorithm. Their algorithm is probably one of the more powerful algorithms out of these social media platforms. They are very good at understanding what people are interacting with and when people are likely to either purchase or give you their information for a lead. On top of their algorithm and data, they are constantly innovating and releasing new products and features. Just this last 6 months ago, they've released the TikTok search toggle ads, which allows you to run search ads inside of TikTok, which is actually really big because you can see that TikTok gains favor among Gen Zs over Google searches. So now not only can you target people inside of the feed, but you can target when they are searching in the platform. I'll show you how to use those later on in the tutorial. And then also they just released the TikTok Shops feature, which if you aren't familiar, this is a game changer for e-commerce. And it is even scaring Amazon a little bit on how well this program is currently doing. These last two right here is your competition still thinks that TikTok is only a dancing app. So early adopters here, it may feel like you may be late to the game with TikTok ads, but there's still many brands who have not adapted it. They still think that it's just a dancing app. People who adapt and figure out how to target this generation, how to run TikTok ads, is going to be a huge competitive advantage for your business. The last reason why you should be running TikTok ads, which I think is something that people often overlook, is that you can still have a very good organic reach inside of TikTok. What this allows you to do is to very affordably test different creative and see what works and then put ad spend behind them. I'm gonna be showing you exact strategy on how to do this so that you can quickly test creative, figure out what works, and then put money behind what works. So when it comes to TikTok ads, I do want to briefly talk about how they work and where ads can show up inside of the TikTok platform. If I go through and I open up my app here, you'll see that there's a couple different places that ads can show up and a couple places that people don't really realize are there. So if we're looking at the app here, we'll see the ones that are in feed. Now the best part about these is they're very low key. You can barely tell that they're an ad. You can see there's a little sponsored message down there. Now this one is actually a TikTok shop ads, which means if I go through and I click on this, it's going to take me directly to that company's TikTok shop where I can check out directly on TikTok and not even have to go to their website. So I'm going to show you how to create in-feed ads that can do this with a TikTok shop, and also ones that can send to your website if you wanted to do that. Another ad option that not a lot of people know about, TikTok actually has search ads as well now. So if I go here and I look at the search bar and I look at best car chargers, for example, and I look here, you'll notice that TikTok now is showing me a sponsored ad right here at the top. You can see this one right now is an ad for this particular car charger. So not only can you target people based on the algorithm and what they're interacting with, but you can also target people based on what they're searching for inside of TikTok. Now, in order to start running ads inside of TikTok, you do first need to set up a TikTok Business Center. Now, a lot of people get confused on what a TikTok Business Center is versus a TikTok Ads account. So I briefly do want to go over that. I'm going to be showing you how to set up a TikTok Business Center and also a TikTok Ads account. A TikTok Business Center, you can look at almost like an umbrella that houses all of your assets for your business inside of TikTok. So you can see inside of the TikTok Business Center, you have things like your TikTok ad account or ad accounts if you have multiple brands that you're working with. It also holds your TikTok account, your organic account. It allows you to easily add and remove users, employees, or contractors to manage and run your TikTok ads. It holds your TikTok pixel or pixels, and we're going to be talking about what that is and how to set those up as well. It can also hold your catalogs, your e-commerce catalogs, and also you can go through and build audiences inside of the TikTok Business Center. So the first thing you're going to want to do is check out the link down below. I actually have an exclusive offer. This is a limited time offer, so take advantage of it while you can. It's where if you spend $500, you can actually get a $500 credit. So if you spend $500, you can actually get a $500 ad credit from TikTok. So once you spend the $500, that ad credit will be applied to your account. So what you want to do is click on that link, click on Get Started, and then we're going to go through and sign up. So go through and put your email in here. Or if you'd like, you can sign up with TikTok, but we're just going to hit continue here. It's then going to ask you to fill out some information about the business. So we're going to go through and fill that out real quick. And next, this is one that a lot of people have questions about. It's going to ask for your payment method, either automatic or manual. I recommend automatic because that means it will just charge your credit card as charges come in. If you do manual, it means that if you spend $50 and you don't make that payment, they will turn off your ads until you make that payment. So most of the time I recommend choosing automatic unless you wanted to set a manual budget. Select our state here, and then we are going to go to Ads Manager. So once you've gone through and signed up, it's going to take you to a view that looks something like this, where it's going to ask you how you'd like to create your ads today. I'm going to recommend that everybody goes with the advanced. This gives you more control and more targeting options to actually scale your ads. We're going to go through and choose the advanced. Now, before we actually go through and build our TikTok ads, there's a couple of the things that we need to set up that's very important to go through and set up before we start running them. So what I'm going to actually recommend you do is you actually come over here to dashboard and we leave this setup for now. We'll come back to here to create our ads in just a moment. Now our TikTok ads account is created, but now what we need to do is actually link our TikTok ads account to our business center. What we're going to do is we're actually going to come over here and click on business center, and that is going to take you to this view right here. Now it may look a little bit different for you because I have access to a lot of different business centers. You want to hit create now or create new, whatever one pops up for you. It's going to ask to tell you a little bit more about your business. You can say that you're an agency or an advertiser. Most people will probably be an advertiser, or you manage the business. And then from here, it's going to ask us how we want to connect the ad account to our business center. You can see you can use this option and actually select the ad account that you have access to. But for most people, chances are the account is still under review. And so it's going to take a little bit of time before you can use this option. I just recommend you go with, I want to use a new business information. You just go through and you fill all of this out, United States, and then the company, just the exact same information that you used creating your ad account. And then the industry here, you can select your industry, your time zone, and then currency, and then go through here and hit create. Then from here, it's going to ask for your billing address and if you want the automatic payments or the manual payments. Once again, I know this is a little bit repetitive, but you do want to go through and set this up. Okay, and once you've gone through and filled that out, you're going to be taken to a view that looks something like this. So we are now in, as you can see here, the TikTok Business Center. So this is the umbrella that can house all of these different assets. And you can see in this left-hand column, this is where all of those assets can live. So the first thing that we want to do is actually go through and link our TikTok ads account to our TikTok Business Center. So we're going to click right here and we are going to click on request access. We're going to click on that, and then we are going to ask for admin to this specific account. And then what you want to do is grab the account ID for this one. So we're going to come back over to our TikTok Ads Manager in this browser right here. If you click this little drop down right here, this is going to give you the number for the TikTok Ads ID. It's blurred out right here, so you can't grab this one, but go through and grab that number right there, copy that, and then you're going to want to come back over to the TikTok Business Center, put that in there, and then submit request access. And you can see it's going to pop up with the account here, so we can go through and request access to that. And then you can see we've sent a request access. The contact owner can now go through and approve that. So we're going to hit close here. And then you will get an email that looks something like this where you need to click on that. Then you go through and accept that request. You do need to make sure you are logged into the right account there. And then now when we come back over to our business center and we give this a refresh here, and you can see here we now have access to this account. So you can go through and add an advertiser. So you want to go through and assign a member. So you want to go through and add yourself to the account there just by clicking that and then hitting assign. So you can go through and hit that and then assign. You want to give them all permissions and then assign that. And then now you can see you've been successfully assigned to this account for this business center, and you're all linked up to everything. So now we have our TikTok ads account linked to our TikTok business center. The next step is for us to go through and set up the TikTok pixel. In order to do that, what we're going to do is come over here and click on this ads manager. And this is going to take us back to our TikTok ads manager profile. And I'm going to show you how to set up this pixel in Shopify. Now, before we jump in on how to set up the pixel on Shopify, I do want to briefly explain why it's important. There are three big reasons. The first is that the pixel allows you to launch ads with specific conversion events, such as purchase, add to cart, or lead if you were trying to capture those as well. So you can actually optimize towards those specific events instead of just a click. The next is you can optimize your campaigns based on the data collected by the pixel. So you can understand which ads are actually bringing in sales, and you can calculate how much money those ads are generating for you. Without the pixel, you only know how many times an ad is getting clicked, not how many times an ad is getting a sale. And then the last thing is that you can create custom audiences with the data collected by the pixel. So you can do things like get all the users' purchase data and then create lookalike audiences based off those. And I'll be showing you how to do that later as well. So three really important reasons on why you should put the pixel on your website before you start running ads. And one of the best parts is if you are using Shopify, this literally takes just a few minutes to go through and set up. If you aren't using Shopify and are interested in trying it out, check the link down below. I do a link that will get you a free trial for Shopify. You see here, I have this demo store, and I'm going to show you just how easy it is to get the pixel on here. So first, we're going to come over here to the apps, and then we are going to search for TikTok. And then we're just looking for this first one right here. And there's lots of different ones, but I just prefer the TikTok app. You can see what this is going to allow us to do. Install the TikTok pixel, one click to measure performance of your ads. So we're going to go through and install that onto our Shopify store here. We're going to click install. And you can see here with this integration, we can actually do one of two things. We can set up the grow your business on TikTok option. You can see this is one-click pixel installation, or you can start setting up your TikTok shop on Shopify as well. What this does is it will automatically import all of your products onto TikTok, so you can start selling them directly on TikTok instead of having the users leave the app. For now, we're going to set up this one-click pixel right here. We're going to go to setup, and we're going to click connect here, and then we're going to click connect. Now, you do want to make sure that you have the same email that has access to your account here. So whatever email access has access to Shopify and your TikTok ads account, you're going to need admin access for both of those. So you can see here is our TikTok ads account that we just went through and set up. So we're going to go through and hit connect here. And then because we did just go through and connect or create this account, you can see the account is still under review, but once it gets approved, we'll be all good. But we're going to hit connect here for now. Now it's going to ask us what data sharing option we want. Chances are you are going to want the maximum so that you can have the best targeting possible. You do want to make sure that your privacy policy complies with this. So you can click on here and manage your privacy policy. The great thing is Shopify does generate a privacy policy for you, but you may want to get that checked out as well. I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, so take that for what it's worth. But we're going to go with the maximum here. And then this is going to automatically go through and create a pixel for us. So we're going to go through here and hit confirm. And the last thing is to come over here and click on finish setup. And you can see from there, we are done. You can see that our account is currently pending because we just created a brand new ads account. It usually takes 24 hours for that to be approved, but once that's good to go, we should be all good. Now, while we're waiting for that review to come through, we might as well come over here and set up our TikTok shop. Now, as a reminder, TikTok shop will allow you to actually sell directly inside of TikTok instead of having to send someone to your website directly. So if you're not interested in setting up a TikTok shop and selling directly on TikTok, then you can skip this step. Like I said, there's timestamps down below. However, I would highly recommend that every e-commerce store at least try this platform because a lot of businesses are seeing really good success. I've seen firsthand with this platform, with TikTok shop. So keep that in mind. So we're going to go over here. We're going to hit setup now. And then we are going to, it's going to ask to connect to our TikTok for business account. So we're going to hit, and then it is going to start connecting with Shopify to our business center. So this is important why we went through and set up that business center account. So it actually go through and connect to that. So then we can go through and it's taking us to this one. And you can see this is all done for us with that connection. So we can hit finish setup. And then the last thing is you want to make sure that your products are all ready to go through and sync into TikTok shop. You see, you can go through and click sync products right here. And you will notice that it does take 3 to 5 days to go through and review those products. And again, this is only if you want to sell directly on TikTok. If you're planning on running ads that send people to your website, then you don't need to worry about syncing up the products here. So now we have our TikTok pixel set up. We have our TikTok business center all set up, and we almost have our ad account set up. There's just 2 more quick things that we need to do before we can actually start running our campaigns. You want to come over here to your little your little bubble up here, You want to click on that. You want to click on user settings. And if you have a TikTok account for your business, you want to make sure that you go through and link that account right here. What this is going to allow you to do is to run something called Spark Ads, which I'll be showing you how to use later. It just makes the whole process a lot easier if you have your account connected to your TikTok account. You can also go through and add a phone number here if you would like. And once you go through and link that, you'll see something that looks like this where it has the account all put inside of there. I would encourage you to go through and put your phone number there as well. And now congratulations, your ad account is ready to start running ads. So now let's actually go through and talk about what type of creative works inside of TikTok. In this section, we're going to be going through specific frameworks and showing you real examples of ads so that you can take some of the learnings from this and apply it to your own brand. Now, when it comes to the creative process of making TikTok ads, if you are anything like me, you probably overthink this a little bit. It is a very important step, so that's why I do want to spend quite a bit of time talking about this, but I like to break it down into very simple terms, and this is actually how TikTok breaks it down, and I think it's a great way to look at when you're creating these ads. Basically, break your ad into 3 different parts. You have the hook, which is the first 3 to 6 seconds, which is arguably the most important part, because if you can't get somebody hooked to watch the rest of your video, then the rest of the video doesn't matter. The next is you want to talk about your unique selling point, and then the final thing is a strong call to action. Now, when it comes to other best practices for ads, TikTok has this awesome little thing called the Creative Insights, and you can see it has best practices for different things, and I want to highlight some of the ones that I think are really important to note. And the first one here is made for TikTok Go Native. You can see 27% increase. Ads for TikTok saw 27% higher completion rate versus repurpose ads for prospective customers. So this means that you actually went through and created your ad with TikTok in mind. This doesn't mean that you can't take one of your ads and repurpose it into TikTok, but you do want to make sure you study the platform to make sure that it's not something that's going to stick out like a sore thumb. The next one here is sound on grab attention. TikTok users are 15% more likely to skip an ad without sound. And this is one of the great things about TikTok is they actually have an awesome commercial library that I'm going to show you how to use here in a minute that allows you to get actually very popular songs that TikTok has the right to and throw them inside of your ads. TikTok is one of the very few platforms where people do natively listen with the sound on. So that's something to keep in mind when you're creating your ads. This here just brings home the point of the hook. You can see 50% of total impact to recall and awareness occurs in the first 2 to 2.5 seconds respectively. And then you can see here videos that have trends fit to stand out. Ads that remix a trend have 14% longer watch time versus ads that do not follow a trend. I'm going to show you how to find trends for your ads here as well. And then call to action. So ads using call to actions display cards see 45% stronger recall. And then here you can see for these vertical tips, you can switch this between gaming and e-commerce. And you can see here, according to this data, TikTok ads that have 5 scenes or more see a 171% lift in conversions. And then also here, if we switch over to the e-commerce, you can see scene varied, same thing, closed captions on. So I do recommend having captions on your videos. Once again, I'll show you a really quick way how to add captions to your videos, but this increase indicates an 80% lift in conversions. And then voice over with offer. So don't be afraid to utilize both text and sound options when it comes to your TikTok ads. Now, if you're anything like me, these are kind of nice to have, but it still doesn't really paint the picture on what a good TikTok ad looks like. So I want to go through and give you resources on how to find that as well. So this will be down below in the description, but this is a really helpful resource. And this is fairly new inside of TikTok. This is the top ads spotlight. So there's 2 different ways to find ads inside of TikTok. You either have the top ads dashboard or the top ads spotlight. And what I found is I really like to look at the top ads spotlight because you can see this is the standout top ads handpicked by TikTok creative experts each month. So this refreshes every month and you can go and kind of see what's currently trending in the ad space. And what's cool about this is you can go through and select an industry as well. So you can go through and select a specific one, or you can just go through and scroll through all of these. So you can see here, you can kind of hover over and see what a good ad looks like.
Lifestyle enhancing details for the bedroom. Crafted with real eco-friendly wood. Make bedtime even better by visiting thuma.co.
And you can see that was an incredibly simple ad. And what I'm noticing right now with this top ad spotlight this month is the comment, having a comment right here is really popular. You can see there's one right here, one right here, one right here. And you can see down here, it gives you even a little like sentence on why they think that this converts so well. And same here with all of these. So you can go through and read exactly what it is and figure out how you can apply these kind of things to your ads specifically. And then this one right here, I absolutely love. I think it highlights a common pain point. Let me go through and watch it here. So you can see that is just a little quick hook, and then the rest, it goes into this simple framework that we talked about right here. So it has the hook, and then it goes into the unique selling point, and at the end there is a call to action there. So like I said, I will leave a link to this down below if you wanted to go through and check out these top ads inside of here. I do also want to show you the top ads dashboard as well if you want more inspiration. So if you come over here and click on the top ads dashboard, you can then even go through and find even more inspiration for your ads, because here you can actually go through and search for a specific keyword. So if we wanted to search for pickleball, for instance, I can click right here and it's going to generate a couple of videos for us, or it's going to find some videos for us based on pickleball. And you can see now I have a bunch of ads related to pickleball in the top ads dashboard. Now on top of that, you can go through and filter by industry if you'd like, and objective. So say that you are someone who is trying to get more product sales, you can click on that, and then let's clear this pickleball search so you can see what this looks like. Last 30 days, you can choose the language as well, the ad format, whether it's a Spark ad or a non-Spark ad. If you don't know what that means, don't worry, we're going to be covering that later. And then finally, the total likes, top 1%, top basically 100% here. So this just gives you a ton of insights. And then if you wanted even more, what you can do is you can click See Analytics here, and it will show you their landing page as well, which is really helpful when you're wanting to spy on competitors' ads or find out where exactly their ads are going to. It shows you the likes, the comments, the shares, and then the caption that is currently running here as well. So lots of different insights that it has for you. It even shows this graph for the click-through rate, conversion rate, and then people remaining towards the end. And then also it gives you a recommended for you. So this gives you even more examples kind of based off of this one that have also performed well. So this is an incredible tool if you are wanting to go through and do ad research and figure out what is working for your niche or your specific industry. Now, if that wasn't enough inspiration for you, I do also have this TikTok ads swipe file right here that has specific ad formats that I've really liked and seen work really well, including a bunch of hooks here that you can go through and use. If you wanted to go through and download this, I'll have a link down below in the description so you have like a quick swipe file to reference. So now you understand the components of what makes a great TikTok ad, and you even understand how to go through and spy on the top TikTok ads on the platform to see what is working for industries similar to yours. However, if you're anything like me, you may be asking yourself, well, that's great, but how do I actually now go through and create a TikTok ad, or how do I get them made for me? And that's exactly what we're going to be going over in this next section. I'm actually going to be going over 4 different ways that you can have TikTok ads created for your brand. I want to go through these 4 different options because every brand is different and one may be better for you than the other, or you may be able to want to go through and use all 4 of these options, but I want to present them all to you and show you the tools that I use to make this process very simple. The 4 that we have here is you can either go through and of course create them yourself using tools, like I said, that will make it a little bit easier for you. You can outsource them, which is a quick way to get ads done. You can build them with AI. And the last one is you can hire influencers to create TikTok ads for you. Now there's pros and cons to each one of these, as I mentioned, but I want to go through and talk about how to do each one of these in depth. Be sure to check out the timestamps if you want to skip through each one of these options, but it is good to kind of know what is out there when it comes to creating TikTok ads. So we are going to start with how to create TikTok ads yourself. Now, when it comes to creating TikTok ads yourself, you really only need 2 tools. And the first one being is your phone. And the second one is a good tripod. This is personally the tripod that I use. I like it because it's super compact. You can use it as a selfie stick. It also can go through and extend out just like this, or you can go through and extend it out super long this way. And if I'm filming things that where I'm looking down on the product, I can go through and put this down like this one. So this, I've tried lots of different tripods, and this is one that I'd recommend. You can check this out down below in the description as well. And then a nice to have, but not need to have, is some good audio. So you can either use like simple things like headphones, or I personally have kind of invested in a nicer audio setup. These are the Rode Wireless Me microphones, or the Rode Wireless Go are also a good option. What I like about this microphone is I can just simply go through and plug this in right here, and then go through and clip this to my shirt, and then I'm ready to go through and record audio. Just make sure that these are on, and it has really good audio quality. But like I said, that's just a nice to have. What you really need is just a phone and a tripod to get started with this. And what I prefer to edit my TikToks in is CapCut. This is actually made by TikTok, and so it integrates really well and has lots of different templates and things to make TikToks really, really fast. And you can either download this on your computer, or you can download it on your phone. You can go through and edit it that way. I'm going to show you how to use this on the desktop and show you just how quick it is to create a TikTok. And what I want to do is quickly show you how to create this ad right here. So this is a very quick example of what you can do inside of CapCut. So I'm going to go through and play this ad real quick for you. These are the puck lights I never knew I needed. This magnetic mount makes them so easy to put anywhere. Not to mention they're wireless and rechargeable with a USB-C. To install these bad boys, all you do is take off this sticky part and stick it up wherever you want to mount the light. And we're going to turn this light to auto, and you can see it just goes through and mounts up there just like that. So we're going to go through and shut this. So now every time I go through and open this up, you can see the light will turn on. So be sure to get yours now before they sell out. Okay, so you can see I want to go through and show you exactly how to make something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to File and New Project, and we are going to hit OK here. This is going to open up a new project for us. We're going to go through and import our filming that we did. So here is the clips that we have here. We're just going to go through and import this. You can see it's going to put them all in this little dashboard for us. I'm going to grab all of these and just put them in the order that they need to be. So we're going to speed through this. Okay, so now we have everything in our timeline here, and I'm actually just going to move myself some out of the way. And you can see the first thing is you can zoom in or out of the timeline here. I kind of get a full view of what you're looking at. What I like to do is look at these little sound bars and see where there are pauses. So if we zoom in on this, you can see that right here, there's basically a bunch of dead space right in the beginning here. So I want to go through and clip that. So you can go through and click this right here and it will clip that. And then you can go through and click on that and then hit delete and it will delete that for you. And then you can see on this back end as well, there's some more dead space right there. So we just want to tighten up all of this on the clips. Now, if you are using the pro version of CapCut, there actually is this really cool feature where it says remove filler words. So you can go through and it will automatically remove all those filler words. I just have the free version, but if you just wanted to point that out as a time saver, if you're doing this a lot. So we're gonna go through and now clip that as well. And then just go through and delete that. Make sure that these are all cleaned out. So I'm gonna go through and do that real quick for all of the clips. Okay, so I just went through and clipped all of these out here, and you can see now we have kind of clean clips. It's very fast paced. There's a lot more that we can do to kind of make this better. You can see there's no captions or anything coming through here. Captions that are kind of captivating and keep your attention. So in order to add captions to this, what we can do is come over here to the text and then come over to auto captions right here, and then go through and hit create. What it's going to do is it's going to automatically go through and create those captions for us. And then we have lots of different options on how we want those captions to look. So you can see it generated those captions for us. And right now, these are kind of boring captions. They don't really catch your eye and are more just kind of there to read. But what we want to do is make these more eye-popping to increase the engagement. So what I like to do is come over here to the templates. And they have this nice little template here. And the one that I prefer to use, there's lots of pro ones, but one of the free ones that I like to use is this one right here. And then I click on that, and then you can see this just adds this pop effect that goes through and highlights the words that you are currently using and kind of gets the user's attention. You can go through and move this around wherever you need. Do keep in mind where the follow button is. Also everything over here and the follow buttons on this side. So you don't want it in any of those areas. For this one, I'm just going to put it up top here. So you can see just adding those simple captions add a lot more to the video. There's of course a lot more that we can do here. Now, one thing that I've noticed works really well inside of TikTok ads is adding some sort of sound that breaks their focus on the video. Basically, it's something that just like kind of throws them off guard, or a kind of a delightful sound is what I call it. And TikTok has lots of these things inside of here. And what I mean by this is if we come over here to the audio and I look over, there's music that you can go through and add, and all the music inside of here is approved to use for TikTok ads specifically. It's not a copyright free where you can go through and use it on maybe Facebook or YouTube, but TikTok does have the rights to all these songs. So anything inside of here is free game to use on your TikTok ads. But more importantly, what I care about here is these sound effects. So what you can do is you can see they have a library of all these different sound effects that you can go through and put. And I like to put one of these at the very beginning of the video. So you can see you can do something like a cheering applause. And we're going to grab this score display right here. We're going to go through and put that there. And then you can see we can add this at the beginning. And this is what it sounds like. It's just something that catches the user off guard, give them another sense basically when they're hearing something. I don't know why, but these things really work really well when you put like a sound like this effect in this at the beginning. And then the final thing that we can do is add fancy transitions if you wanted to. So you can come over here and click on transitions, and you can find whatever one you wanted. We're just going to go through and stick with this sliding mountains. And from here, you can go through and add that into that transition there, and then hit OK. And then this will go through. And you can see that's what that transition looks like as opposed to just like this. And then we can go through and add that transition there again, just like that. And now we have a full video all the way through. So now we've gone through and created basically our whole TikTok, and that's kind of the main features that I use inside of CapCut. Obviously, there's tons that you can do inside of here, but those are kind of the features that I use the most. Then once you're done going through and editing this, you can just go up here to export. You can export that video and then upload it into TikTok as an ad. So that is how you can quickly go through and create your own TikTok ad. However, I understand most people that may not be the most scalable option. And if you have just a little bit of budget, and I mean a little bit of budget, I can show you a way to quickly outsource ads. I'll show you the tool that I personally use to go through and outsource ads. So if you come over here to viral ecom ads, and if you actually check out the link down below, if you click that link, it will give you and use code ZOCO at checkout. It will give you a 15% discount. You can see here what I love about viral ecom ads is they have lots of different packages that are perfect for any kind of budget. So you can see there's two different price ranges here basically. You can either create a split testing ad package for variations for one product. For the VIP members, it's $15, or for a non-member, it's $60. So depending on which membership you go with, and then they have just simple video ad packages, and then all sorts of different variants. So 3 ads. So if you wanted to go through and get one of these, you could either go through and become a VIP member, which I would honestly recommend because you can see the value. Even if you're getting one of these packages right here, if you come through and be a VIP member for $50, you get lots of different benefits, but then you also, it's basically the same cost. You're almost saving that much just by creating a package. But if you wanted to go through and give them a test first before you become a VIP for viral ecom ads, so if you wanted to just get a normal package, you can come over here to video ads and then click on video packages. It will then take you to this view right here where you can actually go through and check out. I would recommend starting out with like one that you can go through and test 4 different variations. This is great for testing your ads. And then here you can go through and select the package that you want, whether you want 3 split tests, 5 split tests. We're just gonna do 1 split test package. You can do a thumbnail or step 1 if you wanted a thumbnail. Most of the time you don't really need that, so you can kind of leave that up to you. And then if you wanted a voiceover or not, you can kind of add to the price there. Then you can go through and click buy now. And you can see once you arrive at checkout, if you click the link down below, it will automatically apply this little promo code ZOCO to this package and you get 15% off. If not, make sure you go through and type that in right here, and then you can go through and purchase your package. And these guys are really good. They'll create you a variation of your specific product. So I can't recommend them enough if you're looking for a fast way to outsource your TikTok ads. And the third option for creating your TikTok ads is to either have AI flat out do your ad creation for you, or you can have AI assist you in the creation. So let me show you a tool that will actually build you an entire ad, and then I'll show you another way that AI can assist you in building an ad. And the tool we're going to be looking at today is Creatify.ai. Now this is one that I've tested on a few different products, and it's kind of hit and miss. So I would recommend just trying it out for your product or service and see if it creates something that is worth looking into. But if you click the link down below, once again, you can get a video generated for free. So we're going to go through and click generate your first ad. And you can see here it's going to ask you for 2 different options. You can either upload manually or you can copy in a URL. So I'm just going to use an example here from Curology. We're going to go through and analyze this, and then it's going to ask you to now go through and sign up. So we're going to quickly sign up for our account. Then it's going to ask us some questions about what we are. You can go through and put whatever you'd like inside of here. And then this is probably just mostly for their data. And then we're going to hit next here, and then you can say however you want. And then here we're going to click analyze URL now. And it's going to extract the content from that URL and then create a video for us. So it is important. It's going to take whatever is on the URL itself. So you can see here, it's getting some of those images, and it will go through and create an ad for us based on these. And then it takes a product description from here. You can go through and edit this if you would like, but now we can go through and hit next. And then we have the aspect ratios, the video length. You can either 15, 30, or 60 seconds. And then your target demographic is optional. Your language here, then we're gonna go through and hit next. And it's going to actually go through and generate a scripts for us. And you can see it's going to give us 4 different options here. So you can go through and read those and figure out which one is best for you. And honestly, all of these are pretty good, especially for like an AI generated thing. If you needed more though, you can go through and hit generate script, but we're gonna go with this discovery one. I like this one right here, and then we're gonna hit next here. And then it's gonna go through and generate an avatar for us and generate basically an entire ad. Now, like I said, the results for this, I've seen it's been hit or miss. So go through and try it for your product and see what the video turns out with. But I've been impressed with how well a video can go through and do, especially if you can go through and do this once for free and see how it works for your product or service. It's definitely worth a shot. Okay, and you can see here, it now gave us, 10 different options or so that we can go and look at. And I'm gonna get myself out of the way here. And if we look at these, you can see this is kind of the example of what it looks like. So you can see there's one example, and then here's like another one that we can go through and do. And you can see with this, like the avatar in this one, the voice or the mouth wasn't like exactly spot on. And so that's why I say it's kind of hit or miss, but definitely worth trying. You can go through and change the voice and the avatar here, or rotate and even change out the music on this side. You can disable the music or the avatar. So lots of different things you can kind of customize with this, but it is an option if you wanted to go through and actually have AI create your entire video. Now, if you wanted to have a little bit of AI to go through and write your script or to help with the ideation process and then go through and create the video yourself, here is another option for you to use AI. And what we're going to be utilizing is actually a feature that TikTok has that is really helpful and has only gotten better. I've been watching this product since it launched, and it feels like it gets better almost every month. And this is the creative assistant inside of TikTok. So there's a couple different ways that you can utilize this. You can either have it go through and start right here, provide TikTok insights, write a TikTok script. You can click in here and actually go through and give it like, hey, I want to write a script about something right here. I'm going to go through and hit stop here. But what I found is the best way to do it is come over here to the top ads dashboard. Go through and type in the keyword for the industry that you're wanting to target. So let's go back to our pickleball example. So we're going to type in pickleball here. And what you can do is you can scroll down here and you can see there's this little logo for the creative assistant, and you can click on this view more right here. And you can say, write some catchy hooks for pickleball, write an entire script for pickleball, or ask follow-up questions. So if I wanted it to write some hooks for me, I could go through and click this, and it will go through and write a couple of different hooks on this particular topic. You can see it's going through, let me move myself out of the way here. It's going through and writing those up. And you can see just like that, it gives me 3 different hook examples. And then if I wanted it to actually go through and write me an entire script, I can say write a script for pickleball. And then using the insights from these videos right here, it will go through and write an entire script for you. So you can see right now, it's going through and writing the script based on best practices and things that it's noticed has worked well for the ads in your industry. It not only gives you the voiceover, but it tells you kind of the on-screen visuals that it would recommend as well. Now take this for what it's worth, but this is a great place to go through and get started if you are stuck on brainstorming different ideas. It can be a really good way to jumpstart the creative process. And the last way that you can get content on TikTok is to actually go through and hire influencers. Now, the hard part about this is obviously finding the influencers and then also paying them for different things. Well, the best solution that I found to find influencers and figure out exactly how much to pay them and get a massive list of influencers is actually to use this company called Brands Meet Creators. You can go through and you can sign up for brands right here. And what you do is you basically fill out this form talking about what you're looking for in an influencer. And somehow it's free. I don't know how this guy makes money, to be honest. It's a guy named Mike. I don't know what his business plan is or how it works, but it works extremely well. I've used this for a lot of different brands, and I've also been on the creator side of it. And this is what the creators see. So he has a massive list of creators, and he sends out an email that looks something like this, where he basically says, hey, brand new creator opportunity. And you can go through and creators can go through and apply for these specific opportunities. So every week I get an email from him saying, hey, here's the new brands that you can work with and create videos for. When you go through and hit apply here, he has the creator go through and fill out the information on how much they would be willing to pay for, or how much, what their budget is, or how much it would cost for them to do a couple of videos. And you end up getting an entire spreadsheet, list of influencers and how much they would charge you to do a video. This is great because then you can compare the amount of followers that they have and how much it would cost to hire them. This is honestly the best solution that I found to find influencers. Another option that you do have is the TikTok creator marketplace. Now, the hard thing about this is a lot of times it's only really big creators. And so it's only when you have a really big budget, because these creators are probably going to be asking for lots of money. That's why I like Brands Meet Creators instead, because this platform is kind of those micro influencers where you can go through and kind of get a cheap video made by the influencer. But if you wanted to check out TikTok Creator Marketplace, you just go to creatormarketplace.tiktok and then you can go through and explore those. You do need to go through and create an account for that to work. So if you've been following along up to this point, you now have ads created, whether you created them yourselves or you outsourced them or used AI to build them or gone through and hired out an influencer. From this point, now we can actually go through and start creating our ads. Now that we have the pixel and everything all set up, it all leads up to this point right here. So once you are inside of your TikTok ads manager, you can go through and click on campaigns over this way. And we want to create a new campaign. And if you are new to TikTok or the setup inside of here, I do briefly want to go over the actual structure. It's very similar to Facebook ads or Google ads. If you've ever run those in the past, you can see that you have a campaign, and inside of that campaign, you have multiple ad groups, and inside of those ad groups, you can run multiple ads. Now, if you're wondering what that looks like in practice, when I'm setting up a new TikTok campaign, this is actually the campaign structure that I like to start with. So I run a TikTok ad campaign with something called campaign budget optimization off. I'll be showing you what that means in a minute, don't worry. And I like to run two different ad groups. So one ad group that has a broad targeting and a second ad group that has an interest-based targeting ad group. Now, according to your budget, you can scale this out how you want. Later on in the video, I'll be telling you how to scale ads after you start seeing things that are working. But to begin with, this is how I like to build out my ads. Is I like to have one campaign, two ad groups, and then 3 ads in each of those ad groups. And the ads are going to be the exact same for both of the ad groups because we're just testing the audiences at this point along with these 3 different ads. And the great thing is if you use something like viral ecom ads, you already have 4 different variants or 3 different variants depending on what package you go through. So it's easy to go through and get this structure all built out. So now we can come back over here and we of course want to choose the advanced option because we want to customize everything and actually choose what we are targeting. So from here, there are a lot of different options when it comes to your advertising objectives. Most of the time, I'm going to recommend that you go with these conversion actions over here. There are some use cases where you could do consideration, but that's why we went through and set up the TikTok pixel so that we can feed in conversion data from our website. So especially if you are running e-commerce, you're going to want to either go with the website conversions here or the product sales if you are wanting to sell directly on TikTok shops. So I'm going to start off by going over the website conversions, and then we'll come back and I'll show you some of the ways that setting up a TikTok shop is a little bit different because it is a slightly different process. We're going to start with the website conversions here. This is where you can go through and give your campaign a name. So I'm just going to call this US prospecting. And then here's where you need to go through and declare special categories if you are in housing, employment, or credit. And then you can go through and create split tests, but for this, we're going to leave this off. We're going to leave this campaign budget optimization off as well. You can see that's what I recommend here. Leave this off. What this is going to do is it's going to allow us to set the budget at the ad group level. And the reason why this is important is you can see if we left campaign budget optimization on, then TikTok is going to automatically allocate the budgets for our ad group. But if we want to test audiences, we want them to split out the budget evenly. Right here, as you can see, if we have 4 different ad groups, if we have a $100 budget, we can actually assign the budget at the ad group level. So if you're just getting started off with, I recommend leaving campaign budget optimization off. And then we're not going to set a campaign budget. We're going to set it at the ad group level. So we're going to go through and hit continue here. And then we have the ad group name here, which I'm actually going to go through and name after we go through all the targeting options. And then we have the TikTok pixel. So this is important where you go through and set up the TikTok pixel, which we talked about earlier in the course, and then the optimization event. Now here you can go through and choose whatever one you'd like. This is a brand new kind of demo Shopify account. So you can see there's all sorts of different ones. You're probably going to want to either do complete payment or payment info added. You can start with complete payment and then move up the funnel if you needed to, if you find you weren't getting traction on your ads. And you can see here, TikTok is even recommending that you start with an add to cart. This I think actually is a really good recommendation. If you're starting with a brand new pixel, or if it doesn't have a lot of data, it is better to optimize towards an event that is higher up in the funnel. If you already have a TikTok pixel that's kind of established, you can move right to purchases. But here you can see we can actually go through and move to something that's a little bit higher up in the funnel so it gets more conversion data. So we can optimize towards add to carts. And then here we want to go over and select placements, and we only want to show up on TikTok for this example. And then here is where you can actually opt into on whether you wanted to show up on search or not. So if you didn't want your ads to show up when somebody is searching for something, say men's watches, show up in the search feed, you can toggle this off. Most of the time, I don't recommend that though. You want to opt into search as well, because it just gives you another opportunity to find customers who might be searching for your specific product. So this makes sure that you are showing up not only on the feed, but also in the TikTok search. But it of course does not guarantee that you're going to show up for the keyword that you're wanting to. It just makes it so that you qualify when somebody searches for a specific term. And then here is where you can go through and target your saved audiences. Now these are custom audiences that you went through and built using your own data or different data sources. Later on in the video, I'll cover how to go through and actually build out a custom audience like a customer list and use a lookalike to target that audience. But for now, we're just going to scroll down and I'll show you how to do that later. As you can see, it is optional, but it is a great way to enhance your targeting and a great thing to optimize. But we're going to scroll down here to demographics, and you can go through and change the location that you're wanting to target. You can change the gender, the ages here, the language. Chances are you want to change this to the language that you are targeting here. So we're going to change this to English only. And then you can select the spending power. Generally, I leave this on all because this is kind of a hard thing for TikTok to know what your spending power may or may not be. So you may think that it's better to go through and hit high spending power here, but I've tested this quite a bit and it's not always the case. So when I'm just beginning off, I leave this on all, and then same with household income here. So now we come to the audience part. Now, as I mentioned, when I am running a brand new campaign, I like to run two different ad groups. The first one being a interest-based targeting ad group, and then another one being the broad-based targeting ad group. The reason why I like to do this is because I like to test to see if giving the targeting over to TikTok works better than the interest targeting that I can do manually. And to be honest, in a lot of cases, the broad targeting does win out the interest-based targeting, just because TikTok has so much data that they might know your customer better than you do. But I want to go through and show you how to build an interest-based targeting ad group, and then I'll show you how to quickly duplicate that ad group and create a broad-based targeting ad group so that you can test the two side by side, see what one gets you the best results, and then scale from there. So you can see inside of these audiences, you can include all sorts of different audiences, whether it's your custom ones, or this is where you can go through and add those lookalike audiences inside of there. But what we're going to be doing is coming over to this interest and behavior here, and this is where you can go through and search all different kinds of things. You can see you can target people based on specific interests, their purchase intent, their video interactions, their creator interactions, or their hashtag interactions. And we are going to be targeting people for the puck light that I created before. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the interest, and I'm actually going to just do a flat out search for kitchen decor, because it's kind of more of a kitchen hack right here. So we're going to type in kitchen decor and see what comes up here in the search bar, and we have no data. So we're just going to delete that and then just put in kitchen here. And then you can see kitchen, bathrooms, and appliances. That might be something good for us to target. What if we type in lighting here? We can see if there's any options. So what I would encourage you to do is just type in the thing that you're trying to target, and you can go through and add additional interests. So lighting, people who are interested in lighting, we've already gone through and select that, and you can go through and create a pretty broad audience here. So we're going to also type in kitchen and home and kitchen as well for these lights. And then TikTok will recommend some categories here, but we're going to ignore those because I don't think those are going to be the best things for us at this point. And so I would just encourage you to go through and kind of play with this and create an audience that works best for you. I generally like to have 3 to 5 interests inside of here, a very kind of broad, or as TikTok calls it, a balanced audience. You can see this is the audience size inside of here. So now we're going to go through and scroll down. You can target by device if you would like to. Generally, I leave all of these open. And then here's where you can go through and set your budget. Now you can see you have the option to have a daily budget or a lifetime budget. So if you have a lifetime budget, you can see it basically just spend that throughout the lifetime, and it can spend it in throughout your scheduled sequence through here. So you can have it spend basically all in one day, or you can have this $980 last you, say like a couple weeks. Generally though, I like to keep it on the daily budget, and keep in mind when you are running TikTok ads, the ad group at the ad group level, you need to run a minimum budget of at least $20. You can see if you try to go under $19, TikTok won't let you. They'll say, hey, you at least need to run $20 a day. So that's the minimum budget that you can start running. And to be honest, if you're just getting started and wanting to start with a small budget, $20 a day is enough to go through and test. However, it's just going to take you longer to get those results back. So as a general rule of thumb, if you're looking for like a golden place to kind of start, then probably $50 to $100 is a good place per ad group to start to get like data back really quickly on what ads are working. But you can start with as little as 20. So keep that in mind. You can go through and set your start date here, and then here's where you can go through and set day parting if you'd like to. You can either run all day, or if you wanted to say that you wanted to only run, between midnight and 4 a.m. on Mondays, you could do that, or excluding those. Or you can start targeting those. You can go through and like select those specific dates here and exclude out whatever ones you wanted to. But we're just going to hit clear here. And then because we chose the conversion optimization event, we're just going to keep this on conversions, keep it really easy. And then here you can go through and set a target CPA, or basically a target cost per acquisition. Now, if you're just getting started off with TikTok ads, I actually recommend leaving this blank, because then that gives the algorithm a little bit of flexibility to bid and figure out what a competitive bid is for your market. If you kind of have an idea of what your target acquisition cost is, or what it should be on TikTok or other social media platforms, you can put this inside of here, but only if you have the data to back up that claim. So generally, I recommend leaving this blank. You can view bid suggestions here. You can see it's saying like $2.75 for this specific one. I think that might be a little bit low, so take that for what it's worth, but I like to leave this empty if it's a brand new account. And then you have your attribution settings here, which you can leave the same. And then these advanced settings, I generally recommend leaving them as they are on this default. So then we can go through and hit next. You can see here in this right-hand column, it will give you a summary of the total audience and the targeting that you're doing. As I mentioned, I do like to come back over here up to the top and rename this ad group. And what I like to do is type in the location that I'm targeting and then the audience type. So this is interest. So I try to be as descriptive as possible with here. So I have US, and then I have interest, kitchen, and lighting, and then this is targeting both male and female, and basically all age demographics inside of here. So then we can go through and hit next now. And now this is where you can actually go through and upload your ad. Now here at the top, you're going to see there's this option to use a Spark ad if you would like. I'm actually going to come back and show you how to use Spark ads here in just a minute. But first, I did want to go through and show you how to just upload a normal ad. But Spark ads can be a really good option. If you don't know what those are, don't worry, I'll explain that in just a minute. Now you can see here, you want to go through and set a custom identity for your ad. So here you can go through and add a profile picture and then enter a display name. So if we wanted to call this Zoko Lights, and then here we can go through and upload some sort of image. We're just going to grab one here. So you can can go through and put a logo here. I just grab a picture of my face and put it on there. You can have this be like your logos, but I'm just gonna call this Zoko Lights, and then we're gonna hit create here. And then you can see that's what our profile picture is going to look like when we're running the ads. The great thing about this is you can have this be whatever you want, which is really nice. You can set multiple custom identities inside of here as well if you wanted to. And it's going to ask if you want to run either a single video or a carousel ad. We're gonna go through and upload the video that we created before in CapCut. Okay, so you can see that's all uploaded and ready to go. So then we can go through in here and hit upload, and it will take it just a second to go through and upload here. Okay, and you can see that's now uploaded here, and what it will do is it will give you a preview of what this looks like in feed, and then what it will look like in the search results. And then if we come over here, you can go through and enter text, just something inside of there. It does need to be under 100 characters, and then you can go through and customize the call to action, or you can have it be dynamic where TikTok goes through and chooses the call to action and goes through and tests whatever one might work best for you. You can use either of those options. A lot of times when I'm just beginning off, I will leave this dynamic, but if you wanted to go through and edit it, you could do a standard call to action and just do like a shop now for like e-commerce. And then next we have these interactive add-ons, and you can see these are optional. And before, honestly, these were not very useful, but TikTok's made some updates to these that actually make them pretty good to use. And let me show you what I mean. The ones that they had before was like these stickers, and then these kind of ones that was only good for mobile games. But now they have this one that is just really good if you're running a sale. If you go through and you click on this right here and hit create, what it's going to do is it'll kind of pop up a banner midway through the video that shows you can see 50% off this sale. You can go through and customize it, or they have this template here, or you can go through and change the discount code. So if you're running a sale, this is a really good option for your ad. If you're not running a sale, it's probably not the best kind of thing, because it does go through and pop up, and it definitely does look like an ad when you do this. And that's kind of the cons of it. When you're running a normal TikTok ad, the sponsored thing or the call to action isn't as big. So something to keep in mind that you can go through and build, and you can go through and hit confirm there, and it will add it to that ad, but we're not going to for this example. We're just gonna hit confirm here. And the last thing is to make sure you go through and put in your final URL in this point. So we'll go through and put our URL in here. And then right here, you do want to leave this unchecked. Basically, this means that your ad will not show in the TikTok ad library. So this keeps your ad a little bit more incognito. So I don't recommend checking this box, leave that unchecked. And then from here, you can just go through and hit submit. and you are ready to go. Okay, you can see this will then take us back to this view right here where it's going to say not delivered. It's currently in review. It typically takes a couple hours for this to go through and get reviewed. Now, this is where you could then go through and create 3 more ads to go through an A/B test if you have 2 or 3 inside of this specific ad group. And then once those are created, what you can do is actually come here to the ad group level. And like I said, I like to test an interest-based targeting versus a broad-based. What I'll do is I will copy this campaign right here, copy it just right here, and then the ad group name here, what I like to do is call this broad targeting. Go through and hit copy here. And remember, all we're doing here is duplicating this campaign, this interest-based targeting that we just created, and running broad-based campaign side by side next to it so we can understand which one performs better for our account. So all you need to do is come over here, come down to the actual audience targeting, go through and exit out of those, and we're going to let TikTok do their targeting and see if it can perform better than the interest-based targeting that we've gone through and do that done. Then you can just go through and hit continue to ads. And all of these settings will be the same inside of here. You can just keep them all the exact same because you want to keep the variables the same for the ads. And then you can go through and hit publish. And then just like that, now you have 2 different audiences that you're testing. And preferably you have 3 ads in each one of these ad groups that you're now testing as well. And you can kind of see which one performs best. So you can see here now we have our broad-based targeting and our US interest-based targeting. Now, before we talk about how to analyze these ads and how to actually go through and scale them, I did want to jump in and talk about how to create more specific custom audiences and how to create TikTok Spark ads if that's something that you're interested in. So we've now gone through and shown you how to set up a TikTok ad for a conversion action if you're wanting to send somebody to your website. However, one of the new hot things with TikTok ads is the TikTok shops. A lot of e-commerce stores are transforming their businesses by running TikTok shop ads. So I do briefly want to go over how to set that up and how to start running TikTok shop ads if you're interested in that. So of course, for this objective, we are going to want to click on product sales. But before we do that, you will need to go through and set up a TikTok shop seller account. So if you go to TikTok shop sellers, it will take you to a dashboard that looks something like this, where you can go through and sync up your products and set up your account. It will ask for some different information and there will be a verification process. If you want more information about that setup, I have a full tutorial down below that walks through how to set up your TikTok shop account so that you can start basically selling on TikTok shop. So if you're interested in that, maybe pause this video real quick, check out that one. I'll leave it linked up above here, and then come back to here. And then once you've set up your TikTok shop seller account, then what you can do is come back over here to the product sales. And if you click right here, you'll notice that there's the TikTok shop option. You can go through and hit continue. And the rest of the setup is pretty much the same except for one minor thing. You can see here in this little drop down menu, there will be a thing that says TikTok shops, and you can go through and select from the TikTok shop that is linked to your account. And I show you how to do that in that tutorial. And then you can also go through and run a showcase if you want, but then you can see all the other targeting and everything else is pretty much the same from this point. You need to set up the budget here and then go through and hit continue. So that's how you would go through and run a TikTok shop. And then here in the ads part, it's not going to ask for a URL. You can actually go through and add individual products to this video. So you can see I can go through and click right here and add specific products from my catalog to the TikTok shop. That way, when somebody clicks on it, it actually just pulls up inside of TikTok and they don't ever have to leave the platform. Now, along with running TikTok shop ads, another huge weapon to use when it comes to TikTok ads is TikTok Spark ads. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry. I'm going to explain everything and how the process works. You can see here, I mentioned earlier in the video that there's this option right here to flip on Spark ads. When I go through and turn that on, you can see it gives me 2 different options. You can either go through and select an authorized account or post by an authorized account here. And what Spark ads allow you to do is to take an organic post, whether it was posted on your profile, your business profile, or an influencer posted a video for your product or service, whether you paid them or they just did it organically, it gives you the opportunity to run that video as an ad. So you may be asking yourself why you should consider running a Spark ad or what's the point of it. And there's 2 big reasons, and inside of those points, there's even more reasons. But the biggest reason is it's cheap to test creative. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that here in a minute. But because you can launch these ads organically, you can see what their performance is like before you actually run them as an ad. So you can see if it's worth actually running it as a TikTok ad. The second is it's a win-win for the brand and the influencer. The reason for that is when you run a TikTok Spark ad, the ad actually comes from the influencer's profile. So is their profile, when they click it, they can go through and they can actually follow that influencer, and it looks very, very organic. So it's a win for the brand because it doesn't look like an ad at all. It's a win for the influencer because it boosts that creator's views on their organic profile and sometimes results in more follows because there is the follow button on the ad itself as well. And then of course the brand makes more money because it's more of an authentic ad that people don't think is an ad. And here is basically the steps to running my framework. I like to call it the cheap way to test creative framework for TikTok Spark ads. Basically, you go through and you create 3 or more videos. So you could go through and create them yourselves and post them to your personal profile, or you can hire influencers to go through and create them for you. When you reach out to the influencers, just let them know that you are interested in running a TikTok Spark ad, and you'll need the ad authorization code after they post the video. And I'll show you how to get that here in a moment. Now, the second step is to post the video, and then we're going to wait 5 to 7 days for those videos to reach their full potential. Now, this is great because if you hire 3 individual different influencers, they'll probably give you 3 different videos. So you can see which video actually gets the most reach, the organic reach, because the way that the algorithm works, it doesn't really care about the amount of followers from that influencer. It cares about how well the video performs. So you can see here down below, these are 3 videos from my personal profile. I have 3 videos here, and you can see if you were analyzing these 3 videos and say that they were all talking about a specific product, the one that you would want to run as an ad is probably this one that got 30,000 views versus the one that only got 3,000 views. And then maybe you could test the one that got 16,000 views because you know that there's potential there. Then based on those views, we pick the video we want to spark, and then we run it as a Spark ad, and then keep an eye on the cost per follow and frequency. And that shouldn't say cost per follow, that should be cost per acquisition there, and then your frequency coming through. And then you can go through and repeat that step, just hire more influencers or create more videos. And that is how you can go through and cheaply test creative instead of having to run, $1,000 behind each one of these ads to figure out which one works well. Here's what you need to start running a TikTok Spark ad. We've already gone through and set most of these up. You can see a TikTok ad account, which we've already set up, a TikTok account if you're running from your own profile. Link your ad account to your TikTok profile. We talked about this by going over here to this little bubble and making sure that this is linked up here. If you're running from an influencer, you need the ad authorization code from that influencer. So let me show you. If we come over here, back over to TikTok, we're in one of my profiles here, and you can see in order to run a Spark ad, the setup is the exact same until this point right here, where there's this little right here where you can go through and switch it to a Spark ad. Before we just went through and uploaded a video directly. Here we're going to switch on the Spark ad delivery option, and you can see there are 2 different options. You can either go through and select from an account that you already have authorization from. So I have this one of my TikTok accounts, and I can go through and I can scroll down here and I can choose a TikTok post, and you can see it will take all the videos from my TikTok account, and I can run any one of these as a TikTok. One thing to keep in mind though is if you are running this as a TikTok ad, make sure that you do have the rights to the music that you are running that ad for. So that's option 1, and that's really easy if it's your own kind of things. The next option is you can use a influencer's post to run as a Spark ad. So you can click right here, and you can see you can go through and add an authorization post, and here it's going to ask for the TikTok post code and preview post. Now, if you're working with influencers who have been doing TikToks for a long time, they are very familiar with Spark ads and they'll know exactly how to get you this code. But just so you understand how this process works, I want to show you how any video you can generate an ad code for that you can send over to you or the brand, whoever it is, so that they can run this as a Spark ad. So let me show you that process real quick. Okay, so what you're going to want to do here is if you're instructing the influencer, you can tell them to go to their profile, and you can see I'm on one of my profiles here. And if I scroll to any one of the videos on here, I can click on that video. And if I click on the 3 little dots in this bottom right-hand corner here, you can see if I click that and then I scroll all the way over, there's this little thing called ad settings all the way over here. Click on that. And then from here, this is where the influencer can go through and generate the ad authorization. So you can see I can go through and click this middle button. It will give me a period available. If you're working with influencers, I would recommend to have them authorize this for 365 days if they're open to that, because this is the amount of time that you'll be able to run that ad. So I would tell them, hey, go and generate this code for 365 days. So we can go and click that and then have authorize. And then what we want to do here is hit save, or then we generate code, and then you can see video code is pending. Make sure we go through and save that. And then now we can go through and click manage code, and then we can go through and copy the code here. And then that's going to give us a big old long string of numbers here that we can go through and then run as send over to the brand and run as a Spark ad. So once we have the Spark ad code, we can come in here and we can click on this. We can copy the code in here, and it's a big long code. I have most of it blurred out here so you can't run one of my videos as an ad, but then we can go through and hit search here, and you can see it's going to go through and find our video. We can hit confirm at this point, and now we can run this particular video as an ad. And you can see the profile. What this is going to look like is it's going to have my profile picture here, and here is what I don't know why it's still loading for a second. Wait for it to load up through here. And usually it shows a preview right here, but I think it might be still loading, so we'll let that load for a second. And what's nice about this is you can actually go through and send them to whatever URL you are wanting them to go to. So you can see there will be a little shop now button underneath the ad, and when they click that, they will go to your website, not to the influencer's profile. So now let's talk about some of the things that you're going to be looking for after the ads actually launch. Whether you're running normal ads, TikTok Spark ads, or TikTok Shop ads, there's something important that I think a lot of people overlook when it comes to running things on TikTok, and that is that it is a social media platform. And because a lot of times these ads look very much just like a normal TikTok, you will often get comments on your videos or people asking questions about your product. And it's very important to keep up on those comments. And if you come from the Facebook world, you know that this can sometimes be a little bit hard to keep track of the comments on your ads and to reply to them. The great news is TikTok has a great way to manage that. You can see if you come over here to the tools under this comment section and you click on here, this is actually going to be one of your best friends when it comes to just managing the comments. This isn't somewhere you need to be in every day when you are running ads. If you scale up your ads, then you may want to come in here and look at this more often. What's great about this is you can go through and see all of the TikTok comments. You can go through and reply to those comments inside of here. You can block specific words that show up in the comments. So if somebody comments like a bad word or something that you don't want them to say, you can block that. You can block specific users from here. And then here's where you can actually go through and see the replies inside your TikTok ads. So a very powerful tool that I wanted you to point out that I don't think a lot of people realize is inside of here. Something that I use a lot when I'm running accounts, because those comments can be very, very important for social proof and to actually tell people that you are a brand that is interacting with people and the community. And while we're talking about these other tool sections, another one that is important to mention that we did kind of talk about briefly before, but that is the audience manager. Now, the audience manager is really powerful because it lets you upload custom lists and all sorts of different fashions. So you can see if you come over here to create audiences, there is lots of different things you can do. You can do a custom audience or a custom lookalike audience. And inside of here, there are 8 different ways that you can collect data. Now, I did a full tutorial and deep dive on how to create audiences and all of this. And if you're looking to create a customer file, a business account, website traffic, or engagement, and then how to go through and create lookalike audiences. So this is where you can go through and build those. But if you want a more in-depth tutorial, you can check out the link down below. And there's a full tutorial on these TikTok or how to create custom audiences and how to utilize those custom audiences. Now, another critical thing to do after your campaigns start running is to analyze the analytics and decide how you want to start scaling those ads or when you need to pivot if things are not working. So I wanted to jump into this small little example here to kind of highlight what I look for after an account has launched and the campaigns are running. So in this one, we actually only ran with a automatic targeting and it has been working. Soon we probably will launch the interest targeting, but you can see here, these are the metrics that I'm kind of looking at when it comes to analyzing what is working. So you can see we have the total cost, the CPC, the impressions, and the clicks, the click-through rate, and that's all kind of good. But at the end of the day, what I really care about the most is the conversions and the actual cost per conversion, and then the total return on ad spend. And in this default column, you can see we don't see the return on ad spend. So what I like to do is come over here and then do a custom column here and then type in ROAS here at the top. You'll see that there is this one for complete payment ROAS, and then we can go through and hit here. And you can see based on this data, we are currently getting a 2.38 return on ad spend, which honestly is not great. That means for every dollar we're spending, we're getting $2.38 back. And after you factor in inventory and your margins and things like that, you're probably just about break even on these ads, if not maybe losing a little bit of money. So what we want to do is kind of decide what the next steps are for this specific one. What we can do is we can actually take another step further. We can go down a little bit more and actually look at the ads that are currently running. So if we click inside of this campaign and we go to the actual ads and look at this, you can see over here, if I scroll over, there's one ad that actually brought in most of the conversions at 37. And this one right here brought in 6 conversions at a CPA of $23. And this one cost me $41. You can see this one brought in a lot more volume, but the actual return on ad spend was dramatically lower. So this was like 2.44. This was a 4.11. So in this scenario, what I would probably do is that for whatever reason, TikTok is really favoring this bottom ad, which is getting me a lower return on ad spend. So what we can do here is go through and pause this and test to see if now we can average a closer to a 4.11, which would be a really good rate for us. You can see the result rate on this one is 2.56 versus a 1.29 here. So just a no-brainer to go through and pause this and see if we can get those same kind of volume coming through. Now, once I go through and make those changes, if I do see that now the ROAS is at a 4, it is now time to start going through and scaling. Now, for you, the number may depend on when you want to scale. Most brands, once you're hitting like a 3 or 3.5, that means you're definitely in profit. And so you probably do want to throw more ad spend into the mix. If you're below that 3, then you might want to just test new creative, test new audiences before you actually go through and scale. But let me talk to you about 2 different ways that you can go about scaling your ads. And when it comes to scaling, I think people sometimes very much overthink this process. I want to make this as simple as possible because it really is simple to scale your ads. There's 2 different ways to scale. There's something called vertical scaling and there is horizontal scaling. So you can see here we have vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. And the first thing for vertical scaling, if I run this one ad by itself and it starts getting me a 4 return on ad spend, what I can do is I can come back over to the ads manager. I can come back to the ad group specifically. And all I need to do is instead of $30 a day, let's bump this up to $60 a day. And then I would let that run for a couple of days. And then if it starts working well, then I would come through and bump it up to $90 a day, $100 a day, $200 a day, and just keep running that until you kind of hit a diminishing returns with your ROAS. And the second option to actually go through and do scaling is through something called horizontal scaling. And that's where you duplicate the best performing ad group and you replace the lower performing ads with new ones. So if we wanted to run horizontal scaling, then we could come over here, we'd come back over to our TikTok ads manager, we'd come here to the ad group level, we would click on copy just like this, we would put it into this existing campaign. We could then go through and name this automatic targeting 2 or whatever you wanted to, or you could call it automatic targeting scaled, whatever it may be. You can hit copy here. We're really not going to change a lot with this because we know it's working. We just want to put more budget behind it basically. So we're going to keep all the other things the same inside of here. And then what you can do is you can scroll down, and in this case, you could go through and bump the budget up to double. You can dump it up to 33%, 40%, whatever you wanted to. So if, say that we wanted to bump it up to $100 in ad spend, then we could come over here and continue to ads. Now, this is the key, is we are going to get rid of the underperforming ads and replace them with new creative that we can go through and test. So we come over to our lower performer right here and we just go through and exit out of that. And then we can click right here and add 3 different creative inside of this account to go through and test. Not 3 different creative, leave the one that is working and then add 2 new ones inside of this account now with the bigger budget. And then you just basically go through and repeat that process. And now it is time to take action. Go through and build your TikTok ads, build your TikTok account. Don't forget to get that free $500 ad credit when you sign up for TikTok ads. If you want to learn more about TikTok ads, don't forget to subscribe because I will be creating more content going forward, telling you what works and things that have changed. And we will see you in the next video.